ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
The LouieTeeNetwork is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Thursday Night Football Overtime. Rams, Niners, NFC West family business. If these two teams said they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, whoo-wee, that's some good family business. 26-23 victory for the 49ers in overtime. Big win for the 49ers. I talked about this on the skill game, that these two teams play some of the craziest games you'll see. Somehow, some way, the 49ers find ways to beat the Rams when they shouldn't beat them. Seemed like the Rams had figured out the formula. They had figured out a way to start beating the 49ers with regularity. And then this shit happens. No Brock Purdy, no Ricky Pearsall, no Jawan Jennings, no Nick Bosa, no, I don't want to add Brandon Ayuk into this. No George Kittle. Like, half the roster is out, and they were dominating this game early, were the 49ers. It looked like they were going to run away and hide with this thing when they were up 14-0 at one point. But the Rams stayed connected, made plays, got stops, got back into the game, but made critical mistakes down the stretch, including a missed field goal, a missed extra point, a fumble going inside the 2-yard line, and, of course, going for it on fourth down at the end and not getting it. Big defensive performance by the 49ers to force the fumble and then get the critical stop in overtime to secure the 26-23 victory, running their record to 4-1 on the season. I think their 4-1 start might be the most impressive of anyone in the NFL, not because of who they've beaten, not because of how they've played, but because of who they've done it with and without. I had a comment from a Commanders fan probably a week ago, during a week and a half ago now, or it might have been just Sunday, right? When we lost to the the Falcons. And they talked about how, we don't have all of our players and, wait till we get healthy and this, that, and the third. But guess what? The league waits for no one. And you can't lose games that you have a chance to win just because you are missing players. The 49ers had every excuse tonight to not win the game, to not only not win the game, but to come out here and get throttled, to get destroyed on national television on the road against a division rival. They had every reason to lose this football game, and instead they came out inspired, and they came out and won with a bunch of guys that, frankly, other teams wouldn't even give the time of day to. All right. If you're a Commanders fan too, there were a number of guys that I wanted this team to sign. I wanted Kendrick Bourne. I'm still upset that Adam Peters, I think, was probably being too damn cheap. You see what he can do. He's definitely got a rapport with Mac Jones, clearly from their days in New England, but that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is he was outstanding tonight. He can play football. I wanted Tutu Atwell in free agency. He went back to the Rams. I don't know if he was ever willing to leave, but I would have thrown him a little bit of extra cash to get him to leave because he's such a dynamic player. But again, we're stuck with what we have, and you watch these teams be dynamic and explosive. And Tutu Atwell's their, fourth or fifth option. You're not even thinking about him. And Kendrick Bourne is a guy that they just signed about 3 weeks to a month ago. So it's amazing to watch, a team like San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan do what they do. Kyle Shanahan can be a demanding coach at times. He wears his emotions on his sleeve, but I love Kyle Shanahan. I've always been a massive fan of his. And tonight was another one of those nights where I felt like he coached his ass off, knowing the circumstances, knowing who was out, knowing what they needed to do and how they needed to get it done. They relied heavily on the pass game. Mac Jones threw the football 49 times tonight. And people forget that Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones in that 2021 draft with all of those quarterbacks, with Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Wilson, Zach Wilson, and all of those quarterbacks that went. And the one he wanted was Mac Jones, and he was convinced. And I thought that Trey Lance was the right guy for the 49ers as well because of the scheme they ran and what he did in college. It just seemed like a logical fit. But he wanted Mac Jones, and he finally got his guy. And now you're seeing what he can do with a guy like Mac Jones. It's a shame because they've already paid Brock Purdy, and I'm not saying that he's better than Brock Purdy, but I'm telling you, he can run this offense just as good, if not better than Brock Purdy. I don't think he's a better athlete than Brock Purdy. I don't know if, he's clutch. As I've seen Brock Purdy do some clutch things. I don't know if he's as clutch as Brock Purdy, but I know he can distribute the football a la Matt Ryan, which is what I think Kyle saw in him. And you saw it tonight for Mac Jones. Remember, Mac Jones won a national championship. Mac Jones is a guy that played with a ton of talent in Alabama, but Mac Jones has always been a guy that could distribute the football. And you saw him do that again tonight. 49 attempts for Mac Jones, 33 completions, well over 300 yards passing tonight, and 2 touchdowns. He was magnificent. And a lot of it seemed like was being done with him on a bum leg, like his left leg with the heavy brace on it. He didn't look comfortable for much of the second half of this game. And yet he was out there, dealing. They had a possession that started inside their own 5. He took them all the way down the field, got them in the field goal range, I believe. There may have been another possession where they started deep in their own territory. They might have ended that one with the touchdown. No, I think they ended up kicking a field goal because they scored the 2 touchdowns at the beginning, and then they kicked 4 field goals, and that was the end result was the 12 points on the field goals to get 26. But Mac Jones was outstanding tonight, and let's talk about the 49ers. We'll get to the Rams and how they managed to piss this one away, but I can't stop giving credit to the 49ers because they have been one of the most banged up teams in football, along with the Ravens. Obviously, we've seen how their roster has been decimated due to injury, but there aren't many teams that have had to endure injuries like the 49ers, and they've somehow navigated their way to a 4-1 start this season and easily could have been undefeated. Obviously, you turn it over as many times as they did against Jacksonville, you shouldn't have a chance to even be in the game, yet they had the football with a chance to win late in that ball game, just could not get it done. So when you look at the 49ers and what they did tonight, it's not a surprise. Down all of those players that I mentioned, they still stepped on a short week, on the road no less, still stepped up, went out and got it done. It starts with Mac Jones. It starts with that offensive line that did a masterful job of keeping him clean for the most part tonight. Great game plan by Kyle Shanahan. The ball came out of his hands very quickly. They did not allow him to stand back there all day and look for targets. That ball was coming out of his hands. He was finding Kendrick Bourne. He was finding Christian McCaffrey. He was finding Jake Tunges. He was finding his guys all night long, ball out of his hands into the playmakers' hands. And I talked about him being a masterful distributor of the football, and you saw that tonight. Let your guys do the work with the football. Let me get it to my guys in their hands. Let them get it done. And that was a great job of him just doing what he is best at doing. McCaffrey was outstanding. You could see this was going to be a Christian McCaffrey night early. He actually had a very quiet second half compared to what he was doing early in this game. The first drive, he came out very loud, running the football, a couple of big catches, had a monster drive to start the game that helped lead that drive down the field and get that first touchdown. He scored the second touchdown on the out route, did McCaffrey. He had a big night catching the football out of the backfield, as I assumed he would. I thought he would be a little bit more of a presence on the ground, but as you can see, they threw it almost 50 times. They weren't interested in really running the football all that much tonight. They knew their best shot at attacking this Rams defense was through the air, and that's what they did, and they had tremendous success doing so. Defensively, it wasn't always pretty for the 49ers in this game. Stafford had a ton of time to throw the football. That's something that they're going to have to address. Robert Saleh and that crew, without Nick Bosa, going to have to find a way to generate some pass rush. You can't just be relying on Bryce Huff, in situations to try to get to the quarterback. You're going to have to find a way to get to the quarterback, whether that's blitzing or you're going to have to run something is going to have to happen because Matthew Stafford had way too much time to throw the football tonight, and you're lucky to get out of LA with a victory because of the amount of time he had tonight. He was surgical with the football because there was no pass rush. I actually thought the secondary wasn't terrible, but when you have that much time, it's hard to ask anybody to cover for as long as Matthew Stafford had tonight. A prime example of that, the Tutu Atwell deep over route in overtime. Like, how long do you want the safety to have to run with the guy that's way faster than him, right? There's no way Tutu Atwell should be able to start on one side of the field, run up the field 25, 30 yards, then run over the field another 15 to 20 yards and catch a ball going out of bounds. Like, that's insanity. He had way too much time tonight. So they're going to have to figure that out. But ultimately, they got the stops when they needed to. What a play by the rookie defensive tackle out of Texas. What a play. As a Commanders fan, we talk about all the time guys just not being able to attack the football, not being able to punch it out. That was one of the most violent chops at the football we have seen. And it was like just a desperation chop. It wasn't like a perfectly timed and placed punch where you just go in there and, you hit the football and it just comes out, right? That wasn't a peanut punch. That was he's about to get into the end zone. Here's a desperation, violent chop down to the arm where the ball is, and let's just see if something happens. Kyron Williams, as we know, has a penchant and a history of fumbling the football. Let me just give him a violent chop and see what happens. And he chopped the shit out of his arm, raked it down, and out came that football, and he ended up recovering it. What a play by the rookie. That was the play of the night. Without that play, they're probably going to lose this game 27-23. But instead, they are able to get the stop there and recover that fumble. They force the Rams to use their timeouts and also are, they give up the field goal to go to overtime. But, of course, they knew that was going to happen regardless. I shouldn't say that because Cardi already had missed once and had an extra point block, and we know what happened last week. So there was no guarantee that 48-yard field goal was going to go through the uprights, but it did. Set the game to overtime. And then you have the drive by Mac Jones. They run a 10-play drive, 6 of which are passes by Mac Jones, leads them down the field in the field goal range. Big kick by Eddie Piñeiro, and he has been a massive acquisition for this team since week 1 after they had to cut ties with their former third round pick place kicker. And what a revelation Eddie Piñeiro has been. Hasn't missed a kick as a 49er except for an extra point. It was which funny enough, was his first kick as a 49er. So 49ers fans were probably going, oh, shit, here we go again. But since then, he's made every single kick, 13 for 13, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He might be 12 of 12 now on the season in the field goal department, as he has not missed this season. That one kissed the left upright and went in, but it went in nonetheless. And that proved to be the game-winning score. What a stop by the defense. They bent all night, but they never actually broke, did this 49ers defense with the defensive tackle from Texas, the strip, Alfred. I can't remember his name. It's something Alfred or Alfred something, one or the other. His name escapes me at the moment. But that play and then the play at the end, I did not like the play call from the Rams We'll talk about that when we get to the Rams side of things. But a hell of a play to stop them. You knew you were getting some kind of tight duo type run from the Rams and Sean McVay, and they played that thing beautifully. Pushed back the line of scrimmage, corralled him, and then you had Siegel, the safety, come up and put in that final blow to push him from being able to fall forward and get the first down and to preserve that 26-23 victory. It was a gutsy performance. It's why the 49ers, although you don't necessarily view them as one of the better teams in the conference, it's why they're extremely dangerous, because despite having all the injuries, but despite not, having Nick Bosa for the remainder of this year, despite being without George Kittle for the first month of the season, basically, due to injury, despite not having Brandon Ayuk to start the season as he's been on PUP list, recovering from his injury from last season, despite not having Ricky Pearsall tonight, despite not having your starting quarterback, Brock Purdy, for most of the season. I think Brock Purdy played in week 1 against Seattle, didn't play in weeks 2 and 3, came back in week 4, didn't play in week 5. So he's missed more games than he's played in this season. And to not have Jawan Jennings as well tonight and to still go out and find a way to win the game tonight is just a remarkable feat. But it's what they've done for the vast majority of this season. And hats off to Kyle Shanahan and his staff for finding a way to get it done. No excuses. This league is not about excuses. It's about finding a way. They found a way on a short week, quick turnaround, without half of their roster, to go into LA and beat the Los Angeles Rams. They were 7.5-point underdogs going into this game. A lot of people thought they were going to get slaughtered. I talked about on the skill game that I won't touch this one with my survivor pick because of the nature of this rivalry. First of all, it's family business, and I try to stay away from family business if at all possible. Sometimes you can't, but this was one of those instances where you could stay away from family business, not touching it, leaving it alone. And this is exactly why I felt that way, because anything could happen when family members get together, especially one in the way of Kyle Shanahan, who seems to know how to play Sean McVay and this Los Angeles Rams football team. Anyhow, let's get to the Rams side of things. And this is a crushing loss. 2 in a row, honestly speaking, because you could easily be 5-0 if you're the Los Angeles Rams. The whole kicking debacle last week against the Eagles, a game that you thoroughly dominated and let them come back and take from you, and then couldn't execute in the special teams department. You have a real problem on special teams right now. For the second consecutive week, you get a kick blocked up the middle. And again, in a game that, ultimately went to overtime and you lose by a field goal, that 1 point was the difference in the game. And so you have an issue. You have an issue that needs to be addressed. The interior of your field goal operation has been compromised, and you need to figure out why and how you're going to clean that shit up. Because for the second week in a row, you lost a football game because of the inability to protect on the interior of your field goal blocking unit. So that's something that they have to figure out over this 10-day break that they have now due to the nature of the Thursday night game. They got time, figure that shit out, because that can't continue to be an issue moving forward. However, Joshua Carty missed a field goal. That didn't help matters. And then obviously you still had you had ample opportunities to win this game, including the Kyron Williams fumble. Kyron Williams had a drop in the flats on the 3rd down where he was not only going to get the first down, he was probably going to get a massive gain. Who knows? He could have even potentially scored. Instead, they had to punt the football. So a lot of mistakes. That play right there in the flats would have gotten them a first down. I think would have gotten them in the field goal range at a bare minimum. Who knows, that drive could have ended up being a touchdown. Instead, it was a drop and a punt. You also had the fumble by Kyron Williams going in for the potential game-winning score. You're top probably less than 40 seconds in the game at that point. You probably would have won the game. They would have needed a touchdown. I think the 49ers at that juncture only had 1 timeout, I believe. So you were sitting pretty. You had the game, pretty much sewn up. Even if he doesn't score there and he gets tackled at the 1, you still have the game pretty much in the driver's seat, but instead you fumble that opportunity away. Luckily enough for you, the 49ers weren't more aggressive coming out of their own end zone there. I was shocked. I thought Kyle was going to throw a pass with the way Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne and those guys were shredding that Rams secondary and defense. I'm surprised that they didn't try to attack them on that third down to see if they could get the game over with. Instead, they decided to run the football. They punted it, and the Rams easily got into field goal range and tied the game up. But the defense could not hold in overtime, gave up the field goal. That gave you a chance. And you moved it down expeditiously. You know, the completion of Puka Nacua, and then bam, a big completion down the field to Tutu Atwell. And just like that, you're in business. You also get a catch from Kyron Williams, and you're dealing down there. And then I thought they were going to go for it. The first time they came out, they bluffed the snap. Just see if they can get the freebie. The 49ers weren't going for it. And I think that's why Kyle called that first time out, because he wanted to make sure his players knew they're not snapping the ball. Watch the football. Do not jump off sides. Do not give them a free first down. Be smart. So they didn't snap it the first time. They came back out in the tight formation. I said they're going to run duo. They're going to run duo. And they did. And the 49ers were ready for it. They erased the line of scrimmage, got to Kyron Williams, bottled him up, and were able to stop him from getting the first down. I didn't like the call. Put the ball in Matthew Stafford's hands and let him deal. They had no answers for Kyron Williams out of the backfield. They had no answers for Puka Nacua. They had no answers for your tight end. Boy, do I love Ferguson. I wanted him out of Oregon this year. God, he looks like he's going to be a stud in this league. He's on the right team, though. I tell you what, Sean's going to utilize the shit out of him. And Ferguson's going to be a monster for them. But they had no answers for any of your skill guys. So for me, put Stafford in the gun and let him operate. I did not like the play call. You could have even gone under center and gotten Kyron Williams out into the flats, and that probably would have worked too. And you just dump it down to him. Now, he had a drop, obviously, and who knows what could have happened. But there were so many ways that you could have attacked them, not trying to just run into the teeth of that defense. If there's one thing the 49ers are up front, it's stout, right? Michael Williams and all of those guys that they have up front, they can be stout at the point of attack, and you found that out the hard way. And so it's a tough way to go out if you're the Rams, and that's a hell of a stop if you are the San Francisco 49ers. So for the second consecutive week, the Rams lose in heartbreaking fashion. And for the 49ers, this has been what the season's been for them, right? Close victories, finding a way to get it done, just finding a way to win ball games. They couldn't do it last week, but that's what they've done this season, is they found ways to win, whether it's week 1 against Seattle, Boza with the strip at the end to preserve the victory, whether it's week 3 at home versus Arizona, giving up a safety late, looking like you're going to lose the game, finding a way to battle, hang in, and then get the walk-off field goal to win 16-15, or this game, right? Just finding ways to get it done. You did it again tonight. It's a testament to who they are, why they've been in the NFC Championship game 4 times in the last 6 years, or whatever the number is. This is who they are. They find ways to get it done. I don't know if this is sustainable with all the injuries and what they've done, but you've given yourself effectively with the 4-1 start. What you've done is you've given yourself a little bit of breathing room and a margin of error now that is extremely, extremely wide, right? No longer are these injuries putting you in a position where you can't afford to drop 1 or 2 games here because you're 3 games over 500. This is the importance of getting off to a fast start. You've done it now, and with every win, you gain confidence. And at some point, if you're a 49ers fan, what you're telling yourself is, we're going to get healthy at some point. We're going to get George Kittle back. We're going to get, Brock Purdy healthy. We're going to get, and you're hoping all of this transpires after this 10-day layoff. You're hoping all of this stuff starts to transpire. we're going to get Brandon Ayuk back at some point. You're going to get Ricky Pearsall back. You're going to get Juwan Jennings back, and you're going to start to get healthier. The only guy that is out for the season right now is Nick Bosa. The rest of these guys are coming back at some point. So you got to feel really good. And also, Mac Jones showed tonight, and I think it is important to understand this, and I talk about this all the time. It's important to have a really quality. If you have Super Bowl aspirations, if you really have aspirations of going somewhere, postseason, being an impactful player in the conference, whatever, you need a reliable backup quarterback. This league is all about the quarterback position. You don't have one, you don't have a chance. But more importantly, you got to have a backup quarterback. And you're seeing that with Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's injury history demands that you have a top-tier backup quarterback. And Jake Browning was fine a couple of years ago, but Jake Browning is a basic quarterback in this league. You need better because you know that Joe Burrow has dealt with injuries over the life of his career. And unfortunately for them, their situation is dire. Don't know what they're going to do. They can try to stick it out with Jake Browning if they like, but it's not going to end well for them. This is a great example of a team investing in the backup quarterback position. Didn't cost them a whole hell of a lot of money. I think I heard 2 years, $7 million for Mac Jones. Not a lot of people were interested in Mac Jones, coming off of what he did in Jacksonville last year, but Kyle always wanted Mac Jones. And I go back to him in that 2021 draft class. Kyle wanted Mac Jones. And now he's there. And Kyle knew he would be a great fit for his offense. And you're seeing that right now. And I can't begin to explain the importance of a quality backup quarterback in this league. And here's a great example of why that matters. Mac Jones this season as a starter, now 3-0. Without his contribution, this 49ers team not sitting here at 4-1, first place, all alone in the NFC West division. So big win for the San Francisco 49ers, equally as debilitating loss for the Rams. Now 2 straight losses after start, or excuse me, not 2 straight losses. They won on Sunday versus the Indianapolis Colts. So I have to stop saying 2 straight losses. They were 2-0, lost to the Eagles, won last week, easily could have lost that game, but did win. And now dropped this quick turnaround game on Thursday Night Football at home to the 49ers. So that's a tough, bitter pill to swallow because now you got to go to San Francisco later on in the season. And if you have any aspirations of winning this division, I always tell you, you got to take care of business in the division, and you got to take care of your home divisional tilts. Losing to the 49ers means you got to find a way to go to Santa Clara and get that one back. Don't know when that game is. Could be week 18. Could be a situation where, playoff seeding is already decided. Don't need that one. But if that's a game that's going to be played within the construct of, meaningful football, you're going to have to find a way to go to Santa Clara and get one back. You cannot afford to be swept by this 49ers football team. That's a tough, bitter pill to swallow. But I digress. Let's get to the skill game, brought to you by, hold on a second. Okay. Let's get to the skill game, brought to you by Sleeper.
The skill game, brought to you by Sleeper.
So, Sleeper is a fantasy sports and real money gaming app that focuses on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world with over 6 million active users back in 2023. That number has grown exponentially with people like myself and you all out there who are using this app and having a blast doing so. If you haven't already downloaded the app, what are you waiting on? Use the link in the description of this and every single video that I do. Click that link. It'll take you to where you can download the app. If you already have the app downloaded, you're already ahead of the game. Just do yourself a favor and use the promo code LTN to get you 100% match on a deposit up to $100. That's right, a dollar for dollar match. You put in 50, they're going to give you an additional 50. You put in 100, they're going to give you an additional $100 to use on the app. And so, what are you waiting on? Let's get this money. So, I said I wanted October to start off with a bang. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for me. So I got this shit, man. I don't know. This ain't horseshoes. You know, coming close doesn't cut it. But what I gotta stop doing is I gotta because you guys that watch the show with me, the ones that watch the skill game, you see the mental anguish that I go through. I go back and forth. Like I told y'all about Kendrick Bourne tonight, and I still didn't play him. I didn't do his catches, his yards. He probably would have had everything I needed in the first half. And instead, I talked myself. I was like, who else is going to catch the ball tonight? I literally talked my way through this and still didn't do it. I got to stop doing that. And another thing, I didn't want touchdowns, but I'm like, I got to also understand in certain games, there are guys you know are going to score. Like in most Detroit Lions games, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to score more likely than not. If it's not him, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to score. Like you just know with certain teams, certain dudes are going to score. The 49ers are playing, Christian McCaffrey's probably going to score. If the Rams are playing, Puka Nacua probably going to score. And if it's not him, it's Kyren Williams. It's one of those two guys, right? So probably should have done something with those two, but I still love what I did tonight. The only thing that I doubted myself on, and I knew it after I did it, was the sack. And what I didn't think about was Jarrett Verse was going to be going up against, and I didn't think that he would be doing this, but I didn't even think about it. I'm not even going to hold you. I forgot about Trent Williams. He was going up against Trent Williams most of the night. He wasn't getting no damn sack. And the one time, and I did not expect Mac Jones to be getting rid of the football as effectively as he did tonight either. So that also happened. But the one time he did get sacked, Verse was this damn close. And the defensive tackle got there first. So, you know, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But Tutu Atwell, I knew he'd have an impact. I did not expect him to have 72 yards receiving, but I knew he'd have more than 10. All right, I felt confident in that. So check mark there. Eddie Piñeiro, like the 49ers kick field goals. 4 of them for him tonight. That's what they do. Knew he was going to do it. No issues there. Christian McCaffrey, who else are they going to throw the football to? I said the same thing about Kendrick Bourne, which is why I should have had him here instead of Jarrett Verse. I should have had him here. But McCaffrey, 54 and a half yards receiving at the more on that. Of course, he had 82 receiving yards. Knew that was going to happen. Kyren Williams, I knew he was going to catch the ball. Did I expect him to catch it 8 times tonight? No, I did not. If I did, I would have upped the amount of receptions, which would have upped the multiplier. But I did know, he was going to catch it out of the backfield tonight because the 49ers are a stingy run defense. For the most part, they got gashed by Jacksonville last week. But for the most part, they don't give up a ton of yards on the ground. So I knew that they were going to have to feature him in the backfield, and he caught 8 passes in this game. So obviously that's a check mark there. Puka Nacua, 7.5 catches. This man is a machine. He's a machine. Most guys, I see that big number and I want no parts of it. But because I know how the Rams feature him and how Matthew Stafford seeks this man out, I had no issues banging the 7.5 on the catches and taking the more on that and feeling damn good about it. He had 10 catches in this game. And remember, I told you the yards were very enticing, but I said, you're trying to set me up. I said, this could be an 8-catch, 88-yard game from Nacua. This doesn't have to be 172 yards. He had 85 yards receiving. So I did the right thing. I knew it. He's going to catch 8 passes. I knew that. I said, I don't know if the yards are going to be there. I made the right call there. Jarrett Verse did not get a sack. He was very active tonight, but I forgot about Trent Williams. I just needed him to get back there one time. Mac Jones was getting rid of football. He did not hold on to the peel tonight. So that one, it felt like I never had a shot on that one. And then Joshua stinking ass Carty Arty missed the damn kick from 51, I think it was. It was a very makeable field goal. Pissed me off. Obviously, I would have had the 2 field goals there, and I would have just been looking for the Jarrett Verse sack. So this was another really good collection of picks put together by myself. I just have to eliminate the ones that are like really dicey, like a Jarrett Verse sack is really dicey. You were better off going with an anytime touchdown for Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown for Kyren Williams, anytime touchdown from Puka Nacua. You were better off doing those things, or even Kendrick Bourne yards. I wasn't sure how many times he was going to catch it, but I was, or I think I was more confident in his catches. He only needed 4. I think he ended up having like 10 tonight. So much for that. That was a really good ticket put together, and two guys just didn't execute for me. So I'm getting close. I already told you, but this ain't horseshoes. But I'm gonna hit something this weekend. This was a really good ticket put together by me. Just 1 or 2 things didn't go my way, but that's how this goes. You gotta nail everything. And sometimes I think about maybe scaling back. When I won early in the season, it was like 4 picks. It was like 3 or it was like 5 picks. It wasn't 6. It wasn't 7. But go hard or go home. No guts, no glory. Like, I'm trying to go get the big money. Go get the money. Go get the money. Go get the money. Go get the money. And so can you. Download the Sleeper app. Use my promo code LTN. And guess what? Brand new offer for the month of October. Download the app. $20 free coming your way. Just download the app. 20 free bucks. You ain't even got to put no money in. All you got to do is download the app and use it. $20 free. Just show up. You ain't even got to use the promo code for that. But why wouldn't you use the promo code? It doesn't take much, as you can see, to win money. I'm still betting with money that I won back in 88. I still haven't touched any actual real money. I'm still betting money that I won from week 2. Was it week 2? Week 1. That I won back in week 1. I'm still spending money from 88. You don't need a lot to win a lot. Make it happen. So that is the skill game, brought to you by Sleeper.
The skill game, brought to you by Sleeper.
All right. So let's get to the comment section. See what everyone has to say. What a game. Man, this is why I love football. I love it with a passion, because you can't recreate the kind of awesomeness we saw tonight. Not in the regular season. I know a lot of people love postseason hockey. You love postseason baseball. That's postseason, though. I love postseason basketball. But regular season football is a better product than most other regular season products. It's just better. And no, it's better than all regular season products. And you could argue regular season football is still a better draw. Not argue. It is a better draw than all of the postseason. A preseason NFL game outdraws like a World Series game or a NBA Finals game. Easy. So what are we talking about? The NFL is king, and it's games like tonight. For as much as people complain about Thursday night, the product, they don't care about the players. All of that is true. But we've gotten 2 consecutive gems on Thursday night from the NFC West division. 2 consecutive gems. I love football. We're going to get a stinker next week, though. Giants and Eagles. We're going to get a stinker, a stink nasty next week. We'll have to, deal with that when we get there next week. Ew. That's nasty. Anyway, let's get to the comment section. I digress. Niners fan, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Niners fan writes, Lou, oh my God, Shanny in his bag. Boy, was he ever. You know, Niners fan, I'm a massive Kyle Shanahan fan. I've been telling you this for years. I know sometimes he gets on your nerves and you get pissed off at him. I love me some Kyle Shanahan, man. He's to me one of the, if not the best play caller in the NFL, man. McCorkle is him. Can I keep it a buck with you right now? If Kyle would have stumbled into him first, I'm not sure that you would have given the bag to Brock Purdy. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Like, Mac McCorkle Jones is to me, the quintessential Kyle Shanahan quarterback. Like, everybody wants the, mobile, athletic quarterback that can move. Kyle don't need that shit. Kyle, like, I'll need that. Give me the distributor. Give me the guy that's going to make the right decision, get the ball out of his hands, let the playmakers do with the football what they need to do with it. Give me that guy. He sees a lot of Matt Ryan in Mac Jones. And I'm telling you right now, if Kyle would have gotten his hands on him 2 years ago when he left New England, I bet you don't pay Brock Purdy the money that you just paid him. And I know you're not the biggest Brock Purdy fan in the world. Your offense could run and function at a high level with Mac Jones out there. CMC not washed. Bourne is back. Salah is cooking up. BP is shaking right now. He better play well against Tampa. Brock Purdy understands, like, this is why NFL quarterbacks don't like missing time, because you don't want another guy getting your snaps, because this is the shit that can happen. Now, if you're well established like Brock Purdy is, you shouldn't have to worry. And I don't think Brock Purdy's job is in jeopardy, right? They've paid him way too much money to sit his ass down. But understand that now what has effectively happened with Mac Jones starting the season off 3-0, and with this performance tonight, what he's effectively done is he's applied pressure. Again, the pressure isn't real. It's not real, because the 49ers have over $2 million of investments as to why the pressure isn't real. But the perception is that, hey, you better play well, bruh. You come out here, you start stinking it up, you start turning the ball over, we lose a game that we feel like we should win. And you're going to have 49ers fans saying, put Mac Jones in the damn game. While that's not real pressure, the perception is, hey, we got a guy over here that can get the shit done if you can't. He's going to feel that. And this is the worst thing for a quarterback. If you're not resolute in your ability, in your standing within an organization, this shit could break a quarterback. We saw it happen with Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. We saw it happen with Robert Griffin III in Washington. If you are not comfortable enough in your own skin and your standing within an organization, having a backup quarterback that is successful and fully capable will break a normal quarterback who isn't mentally tough. We're going to find out just how mentally tough Brock Purdy is, because Mac Jones has applied pressure. Again, I don't think it's real pressure. It's a perceived pressure. It's not real. The 49ers have spoken. They've invested. But the pressure is now there. Let's see what Brock Purdy does. I think he's going to be fine. But CMC not washed. It's never been a conversation about could he do it. It's just, could he stay healthy? Well, he's beat those allegations of being washed, because he's playing at a high level. And, man, I wanted Kendrick Bourne so bad when he was available. Congratulations on getting him back. I've always been a big Kendrick Bourne fan. The Bourne identity was absolutely spectacular tonight. Jorn, been a member for 42 months. Salute. Who writes, Jared Verse and Rams kicker sold our cheese, Lou. Shaking my head. Didn't they, though? I mean, I blame myself for Jared Verse. Probably shouldn't have had him on the ticket. But the Rams kicker definitely. Josh Carty, Party. Pissed me off tonight. Make your goddamn kick. So, yeah, that sucked. But I'm going to get him next time. We're going to get him next time, Jordan. Don't you worry. We're going to get him next time. We're going to get him. We got some money coming to us this month, Jordan. Let's get it. Trey Fryer, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Trey writes, Lou, I didn't like the run call. I didn't like it either. I'm right there with you, Trey. I did not like that call. not with Matthew Stafford, not with a guy that you absolutely trust. This is why you have Matthew Stafford for moments like this. With the way the 49ers have been playing a run, you weren't gashing them in the run game. This was a time to put Stafford in the gun and just let him deal. They can't cover him in the Puka Nacua. They can't cover Kyron Williams out of the backfield. They were struggling in the second half to cover Devontae Adams. Like, you had so many mismatches that you could have taken advantage of. I need Sean McVay to go into his bag and give me your best 2-point conversion play that you had available and go with that. Not that bullshit ass run. But they had confidence in the offensive line. They thought they could move the line of scrimmage and create enough movement to get 1 yard. They were wrong. It's easy to second guess the call now because it didn't work. They had a 4th and 1 earlier in the game and it worked and they got the first down. But in that situation, in that moment, the 49ers were sitting on run. I would have gone to either some sort of play action fake, right? Some kind of boot or some kind of action where you fake it to Kyron Williams and let him leak out into the flats and just dump it to him. Probably would have walked in the end zone, I guess, because they were selling out on run. Or you get Stafford in the gun. You get Stafford in the gun and you just let him pick them apart. I didn't like the call either. He says, you've been passing on him all game. McVay got to be more aggressive than that. I agree. We're right here. We are in lockstep. Shadow Striker 789. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, 5 for 5 betting on Thursday Night Football. 2 of 4 lays hit both over plus 1,400 odds. 4K for the kid. Download Sleeper, y'all. The man just told you what to do. Get it. Download it. Use my promo code LTN. Let's get this money, man. It's here to be made. Niners fan. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, I love my young secondary. Stout, Demo, Green, Siegel are dogs. Cavalry coming back on offense soon. Trade for a pass rusher and we can win this division. I'm so jealous of your secondary, bro. I am so jealous. I love Upton Stout. God, he's been playing so good this year. God, I love Upton Stout. And I was not the biggest Green fan coming out of Florida State. He has actually exceeded my expectations. He's actually been really good. Renardo Green, he was solid last year. I wasn't blown away. He looks like a player, man. I am so jealous of your secondary, bro. I really am. And Siegel, this was really my first exposure to him, like what I saw. I need to see more before I feel a way about him, good or bad. I don't know enough about him yet, but this was my first exposure to him. He looks good, but I need to see more before I'm like, yo, he a dog. You can tell me, and I trust your judgment. But I love Stout and I love Green in particular. And then it's like, you guys just find linebackers, bro. Like Winters, D. Winters, man, this dude is a fiend, bro. It's like you guys just collect linebackers and you find them everywhere and you find demons every time. Every time. You're gonna have to get a pass rusher, though. I agree. You're gonna have to do something, bro. You can't live like this. Bryce Huff is cool in 3rd and 8 when you know it's a passing down, but you need a guy. And I mean, I don't know who's available. You're gonna have to wait and see. You would love for the Texans to bottom out by the trade deadline and go get Danielle Hunter. Like, that would be the perfect addition. He can play all downs, but he can also rush on 3rd downs. Like, that's what you gotta hope. Somebody that is in that space bottoms out. Like, the Dolphins have a couple of pass rushers, but I don't want Bradley Chubb or any of those guys. Like, you want Danielle Hunter. You need the Texans. You should be rooting for the Texans to stink. And by the time, the trade deadline comes, early November, they're selling. That's what you should hope. Anyhow, I digress. Shout out to my guy. Shout out to my guy, Sean Blake, for winning 300 tonight. A lot of money out here to be had, man. Y'all go out here and get this money. Go get this money. See a lot of people upset. Oh, somebody didn't win the money. Oh, man. I had somebody text me tonight and say Kyron Williams' fumble cost them $1,000. I don't know if that's true or not, but I had somebody text me and say that happened to them. So it's all love out here, man. It's all love. But anyway, I digress. I don't see any comments addressed to me, so we are going to get out of here. Big win for the San Francisco 49ers. Overtime victory, 26-23. Runs their record to 4-1. What an impressive start. Seattle has a chance to join them this weekend if they play. I'm pretty sure they play this weekend. I don't recall who they play, but I'm pretty sure they play this weekend. They have a chance to join the 49ers at 4-1 in the division, or 4-1 overall, and tied them for first place in this division. But what a start to the season for the 49ers. Overcoming adversity. That's what it's all about in this league. And no one's done it better than the 49ers have over the first 5 weeks of the season. No one's overcome adversity like the 49ers have. And Kyle Shanahan, like my guy Niners fan said, Shanny was in his bag tonight. Like he knew what the game plan needed to be. Didn't even bother with the run, really. I mean, I say that, but McCaffrey, I think he had 22 carries. It just wasn't super effective. Let me check to see what McCaffrey did. Yeah, 22 carries, 57 yards. It's not like they didn't try to run the football. They just couldn't. But Mac Jones threw it 50 times, basically, and it was surgical. So I digress. Did I miss one? Nope, I didn't miss it. I didn't miss anything. Not on what I can see. Let me go back into the comment section and see. Maybe it was one at the top and it just didn't process because the game went to overtime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's one right here. I don't know why this one didn't show up. Glizzy McGuire, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Glizzy McGuire writes, what do you think of the dirty knuckleball kickoff? It's a beautiful thing. Now, it's a gift and a curse because you have to hit it a certain way for it to have the intended effect that you're looking for. But also in doing that, it could easily take a nosedive like it did in overtime, like we saw it happen with the Cardinals last weekend at the end of that game, last Thursday rather. And it could not land in the landing zone, right? We saw it happen in overtime. The Rams have been outstanding with that knuckleball kick. I saw them F up the Eagles 2 weeks ago with that shit. Just they couldn't figure it out. It was bouncing. It was all kinds of mayhem. The Eagles started inside their own like 10-yard line 2 or 3 times in that game because of it. If you can perfect that shit, it's a weapon. But it also can go, haywire, and you could end up allowing a team to start at the 40-yard line. So it's a gift and a curse. But if you can master that shit, I think Brandon Aubrey of the Cowboys has a version of that dirty knuckleball shit. And if you can perfect it, it's a weapon, bro. It is an absolute weapon. So, yeah, I love it. I'm not always the biggest fan of these new additions to the game. I think this version of the kickoff rules last year it was This year I love it because nobody wants to give the opposing team the ball at the 35. Like there's only a certain select few situations where you're okay with kicking it out of bounds so that a team starts with the ball at the 35. Like for instance, it's 2:04 left. Right before the 2-minute warning, you don't want to give the team another timeout. They've only got 1 timeout remaining, or they have no timeouts. You don't want to let them run a play, before the 2-minute warning, or vice versa. You want to make them run the football back so they run off that time. But you see instances where if you are a team, you don't have any timeouts left, and it's 2:04 left, and you want to try to get the ball back, maybe you got 2 timeouts, but you need that 2-minute warning to be your 3rd timeout. With 2:04 left, you got to kick that bitch out of the back of the end zone. And so that 4 seconds is still there. They run the play, 2-minute warning happens. Then you got your 2 timeouts on the other side of the 2-minute warning. So there's strategy and all of that, but ultimately, ain't nobody trying to get the other team the ball at the 35-yard line. So you got to run that bitch out to the 35 if you want it at the 35. Not just going to give it to you at the 35. So this has actually been a really nice addition to the NFL rules. How y'all feel? Let me ask y'all about this. How y'all feel about these overtime rules that each team gets to possess the football no matter what happens? Touchdown. I don't think we've seen an overtime yet where the first team to possess the football scores a touchdown. I don't think we've seen that yet. I think all we've seen is, each team kick a field goal like we did against the Dallas game on Sunday night. Here we saw the first team score a field goal. The other team had a chance to kick a field goal, opted for the touchdown, didn't get it. I don't know if we've seen any other overtime games this season. I think that might be the only 2 that have happened. I'm trying to think and go through the mental Rolodex of this season. I'm pretty sure there's been at least one more overtime game. I'm trying to think of if I remember any more overtime games this season. I don't know, but I'm still lukewarm on it. You know how I am. I'm an old curmudgeon when it comes to this. I'm cool with the field goal. If the team kicks a field goal, the other team should get a chance to possess it. The only way you lose is a touchdown. But I think I'm going to warm up to it as time, passes. I'm still not a fan of the 10-minute overtime. If you're going to do this, just make it 15 minutes. Especially if you're going to give both teams a chance. What if the first team to possess the football goes on an 8.5-minute drive, and now you're telling me I got to figure it out in a minute 50, a minute 30, a minute 15? That's bullshit. Just make it a 15-minute overtime. You don't give a shit about player safety anyway. Don't come at me with that bullshit about player safety. You don't care about these players. Make it 15 minutes, just like in the postseason. Anyway, I see you guys are cool with it. It says I'm good. I like it. Both teams should have a shot. Yeah, I think I'm gonna warm up to it. I think I'm just being stubborn right now, but I don't mind both teams getting a shot. But it should be 15 minutes, and I've been on that. I'm gonna die on that hill. I've been on that hill for years since they changed it. It should be 15 minutes, but whatever. Anyway, I digress. That was the last comment. Now we will get out of here. I appreciate y'all kicking it with the kid. I know it's a little late because that game ran a lot later than normal because of the overtime nature of it. But that was worth the price of admission, and that was well worth the extra 15, 20 minutes that this game ran. What a football game. 49ers improve their record to 4-1 on the season, take sole possession of first place in the NFC West at 4-1 with a 26-23 overtime victory. Big win for the 49ers on the road. They dominated the first half of this game, only to have the Rams come roaring back and have ample opportunities to win. But the 49ers remained unfazed by the Rams' pursuit of victory, found a way to hold them off, get the win. Huge stop, huge forced fumble at the end of regulation, huge stop in overtime to preserve the 26-23 victory for the Rams. Tough way to go out. 2 times in the last 3 weeks, the Rams have lost at the very end of a ball game. Special teams seems to be at the crux of those losses. They've got some time now to figure out what the hell is going on the interior of their field goal kicking unit. It is not secure right now. Cost them a point, and that was the difference in the regulation score, and ultimately missed a field goal as well. They got to be better. Couldn't get 1 yard, and a lot of times what people like to say is if you can't get 1 yard, you don't deserve to win. The Rams couldn't get 1 yard, and they didn't win tonight. They fall to 3-2 on the season. What a football game. What a game. What a game it was. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Thursday Night Football Overtime. I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy. I'll be back. I'm going to be very, very busy tomorrow. I look forward to chopping it up with you. Until then, you guys have a good one. Take care. Peace.